I mean, it says we're going, so I imagine. Man, it's only 2 cameras, huh? Yeah, we're live again.
All right.
Sorry. Every time we crash though and come back, then we get someone else. That's slobber though. That's right, Stackhouse. Batista slobbered, I guess, like an animal, right? I guess it's, give me what I want. Give me what I want. Give me what I want. Like fucking Daffy Duck.
I didn't hear he farted.
He definitely
Did he?
farted.
Okay.
There's no way he didn't fart.
But-
We might just do one camera on this one for a bit, guys, just to prevent us from crashing. But yeah, Batista's slobbery. Triple H is clever. Batista's a waste of airtime. I honestly felt like this last... Was it Raw he came out?
Yeah.
And I felt like it was an absolute waste of airtime.
Yeah. Well, especially it took him 5 minutes to get to the ring, kiss my ass,
Yeah.
and then 5 minutes to leave the ring, and
Yeah.
then they cut Angle and Mysterio.
Yeah, they cut Angle Mysterio. They put in a weird video where it's the same cut of like 2 matches. I think it was 3 matches. Oh, and you had mentioned before about the network not doing shit. Today they actually put out the 3 matches that they had that they're referring to, right? However, there are 2 matches, I believe, where Triple H does win over Batista, but they were like tag matches and not one-on-one. But he did get the pin over Batista, which is still relevant. But they never really went back to explore that in the storyline. But you're going to show a bunch of clips, repetitive clips, not even like different clips, of 3 different matches where in the amount of time you probably could have aired all 3 matches and only 1 line echoing. Waste. It was a waste of airtime.
Yeah.
Did not make me more excited. It made me more frustrated. It made me think the whole thing was dumb. Batista pulling up the mic to breathe all weird and then he just like points. I'm not into it. So I hope Triple H wins. I've never liked Batista, to be honest. Even when he was supposed to be the big thing. Didn't like him. Still don't like him. Don't believe him.
Yeah. I don't know where you go with it storyline wise.
Yeah, if he wins, what is it?
Yeah,
what the fuck
Batista
then?
wins, then what?
Yeah.
Triple H is gone.
Yeah.
Maybe.
But if Triple H wins, then cool. You can do more things with Triple H.
Yeah, and Batista if you want to have.
And Batista, yeah.
If you want him to have a run.
Batista's allowed to come back. I don't think he should, but he could. After that, we're going to have AJ Styles versus Randy Orton. On
I'm
paper,
excited for this match.
on paper, this may be the best match of the night.
There was no build-up.
Nope.
Little shit-talking back and forth.
The Kevin Owens show was pretty sick, though.
Yeah.
He was all like, well, I was in the indie scenes selling out gymnasiums. You were failing drug tests.
Yeah.
Oh.
I don't know. That was one of the moments I was like,
Yeah. Yeah. I was like, Randy Orton's all like, okay.
all right.
You fuck?
Yeah. These bumps are going to be a little harder now.
Yeah. I was just expecting Randy Orton to be like, hey, Wendy. You know.
But, I think this is a great match on paper. There was no build-up.
Yeah.
You know.
It could be amazing, but it doesn't have to be. There's no stakes.
Yeah.
Other than them talking a little bit of shit in 2 weeks' time, there's nothing at stake. There's nothing the winner gets. There's nothing the loser has to do.
I think they should have said #1 contender match.
For something,
Yeah.
or like remember back in the Heart Foundation versus DX days, they would do like kiss my ass match or eat dog food match, something. You know what I mean? Like,
Some crow.
yeah. Like if you want to sit there and talk shit about the indies or whatnot, then maybe have like if Randy loses, he's got to do an indie show or like some weird shit, right?
He has to go to some high school gym and put on a show. I mean...
Oh, wow. Stackhouse won tickets to a Raw with a dinner with Batista in 2008-ish.
Oh, yeah.
And so the dude was a jerk the whole time.
Really?
Yeah. Good. Fuck him.
Yeah.
I didn't want him back. I'll be honest. When he came back on SmackDown 1000, I was like, fine. And then with all the the Twitter stuff, oh, Triple H isn't calling me back. Oh, I want to come back. I want this. I don't feel right about how my run ended. I did not care. I was like, your run was fine. Leave.
Yeah.
There is nothing more to be told. Your story's over. And we're done. We've moved on.
Yeah.
You may not have moved on. You're reliving your glory days like it's high school.
Yeah.
But no one else gives a shit about your career at this point. You haven't done anything to make us want it. Yeah, it's just like the Bellas. Just be honest, like no one gives a shit about the Bellas neither. Yeah, Batista, you're the new Bella.
Yeah.
All right.
Batista Bella.
Yeah, the Bella triplets now. I'm gonna pick. Fuck, that's hard to pick. AJ versus Orton. I feel like it's got to be
a coin
AJ.
toss. See, and
It's coin toss, but
I feel it has to be AJ, but I want it to be. I don't know. I mean, I like Orton. I've always been a big fan. I don't know how much he's got left. Seems like AJ's tank is still running pretty full.
AJ's the oldest one in the match.
Yeah.
I think they both have a lot left.
Yeah.
Again, if there was stakes at play here, it'd be easier to say this person over this person.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just a weird, not even totally a grudge match. It's just this weird shit talk match.
Yeah.
And
Maybe they change something on the kickoff. Hopefully.
You know what's weird? It almost feels like Indy versus WWE, so you think almost Orton has to win.
Yeah. Almost Sting versus Triple H at Mania.
Yeah.
Whereas, like, I know I was one of the ones that really wanted Sting to win. But it was like, he can't,
They won't let him.
WCW versus WWE, he can't win.
Yeah, he's not allowed.
But,
And since this whole build has been, you're Indies and I'm WWE from the core, almost Orton has to win.
this is where you bring the club in. Unite
Oh.
AJ and the club.
Until September.
Yeah.
I'm going to pick AJ because from a fan standpoint, I want AJ to shut Orton up. But from a WWE standpoint, I think Orton's got to take it.
Yeah. I'm going to pick Orton. And I don't know. I think storyline-wise, it still doesn't make sense because it's just a random match. But I think they can do a lot with either. But I'm going Orton.
Stackhouse thinks it's going to be AJ because of the play of Orton getting the RKO on AJ at SmackDown.
Mm-hmm.
So traditional booking will tell you if
Yeah.
someone goes over on the SmackDown or the Raw, then they're losing on the pay-per-view. Same thought process with Seth Rollins getting the Rochambeau in on
Yeah.
Brock. Indication that he might be losing. Yeah, there's a lot to be said for that. When someone goes in looking strong, it's the one who they're now the favorite. So we all like underdog stories.
Yes.
Then it comes into Roman Reigns versus Drew McIntyre. God, I want to be excited for this match. I do. They're two great talents that for some reason you forget are on the card this
Yeah.
year.
You almost feel like an asshole if you don't root for Roman.
He's got to win it.
Yeah. Like,
It's his first one-on-one since he's recovered from leukemia.
yeah.
Is it recovered? I mean, I don't.
Remission? He's in
Remission?
from leukemia.
You go into remission, but you don't get recovered, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so you're a piece of shit if you want Roman to lose. So, fuck Roman. I'm just kidding. You want Roman to win it. I also, as much as I think Drew has everything it takes to be a main event talent and to be the big guy, he's got skills on the mic, he's got the moves. I don't think he sells enough, so there's not enough psychology in his matches for us to truly care about each one. Stackhouse thinks Drew's going to get the upset. I think it's totally possible. I think they could go either way with it. Absolutely. I think everyone thinks that it has to be Roman because of his story,
Yeah.
his actual story. But if you want to shock everyone, Drew's the one you go with.
Yeah. And it's
And he's on the upswing. He's not losing.
yeah.
Not losing.
And it's a nice, heel move. You ruin somebody's homecoming or, big moment.
It's much easier to boo him after that.
Yeah.
Yeah, he beats Roman and fuck that guy.
Yeah.
He'll get the 8-minute boo.
Yeah. I don't know. This one's like the other, kind of a toss-up.
Oh yeah, it really
Could
can
go
go
either way.
Either way, and I think I'm okay with it. I just wish, so Drew had a match. His last match against, was it Seth? Was that his last match?
I think so. No, hasn't it been Dean?
It was Dean again, yeah. It was Dean twice in a row, you're right. So his last match against Dean, he did a really good job of selling some of Dean's stuff. which I think without selling properly, you don't buy me into that your win is meaningful. And I think that he's been done a really bad job at that lately. He's constantly, he'll like take a couple of hits and either respond like, oh, I wasn't hit at all. Or he'll be down for like 30 seconds and then get up like, brr.
Yeah.
And it's like, how come no one else is in a match?
Yeah.
Like everyone's in a match but you, and like you constantly are able to just overcome all of it. Like you haven't been hit one time. And I feel like this last match I had with Dean, there was a lot more selling, which was nice. I think if he continued with that, if he sold a lot through here and made it look like beating Roman was the toughest fucking thing he's ever had to do, then I'd be okay with him winning, because I'd be okay with him overcoming that thing. Otherwise, it's got to be Roman.
Yeah, with this one, I just don't think I don't think Drew can win. Like I said, it would be a great heel move. It'd make you want to boo him, but I think it's Roman. The pushes he's gotten throughout his career, this comeback, I think you give it to him.
Yeah. Stackhouse thinks Ambrose is going to get involved to get Drew the win, which I could see. If Ambrose came in and like dirty deeded Roman Reigns,
That sounds
dirty deeded all over him,
yeah.
then yeah, Roman can get the loss and the heat can still not totally be on Drew. And then what was it Stackhouse is saying that every year there's a big shock where it's like, how the F did that happen? How could you book that? And if you don't have Kofi and Becky win, then you have a lot of people burning down the building. But I think Seth is going to be the one that people don't see coming. I think Seth will be the loss.
I do too. I think, we've talked about a theory. We'll get there, but, I would love to see that theory happen.
Yeah. So after Drew and McIntyre,
Drew
and
McIntyre.
Roman and Reigns,
All four of them.
all four of them, fatal four-way.
As this show goes on, there's double the entrance in each
double the match.
Yeah.
The championship match against Daniel Bryan versus Kofi Kingston. This to me is a total coin toss because you can go either way. I want Kofi to win.
I would love for Kofi to win.
I think Kofi winning would mean so much to so many people. And I know there's the argument and keep race out of it and all of that, but realistically speaking, when you break it down, there has never been a black WWF champion. The closest you get is The Rock, who's half black and half Samoan. Cool. The Rock claims, per his own tweet, that he transcended race. He was neither black nor Samoan when he won that title and when he did the stuff. Okay, cool. So then you're out of the conversation. It didn't put you at the top of the conversation like I think you thought it would. You just told me you transcended race. So now you're out of that conversation. So boom, the closest we had now says that he bowed out. Great, you're not part of that conversation. Which means we've never had a black WWF champion. We've had black heavyweight champions. The big gold belt went to Booker T. It went to Mark Henry. Went to Ron Simmons. But it never went to a black wrestler. And I think that a lot of young kids who look like Kofi could really hold on to something like that, right? Yeah. We've all had heroes who look like us. Yeah. I got to watch Mick Foley.
Oh, okay.
And that was huge. I mean, Mick Foley winning to me as a kid was huge. Yeah. I was like, that guy looks like I'm going to look like when I'm older. I knew it. I wasn't dumb.
Need your flannels.
Yeah. And it meant so much to me to see somebody win who didn't look like everybody else, but looked like I look. You know what I mean? And so I think Kofi, for the sake of those kids, little Kofi Kingston never had that. I think adult Kofi Kingston can give that to little Kofi's now.
Yeah.
So I think for that sake alone, I want Kofi to win.
I just want Kofi to win. I've been a fan of his for a long time, 11 years apparently, but I just, he puts on great matches. So does Daniel Bryan. I'm not taking anything away from him, but he's just, he's beyond hot right now. Outside of Becky Lynch, he's the hottest wrestler.
Yeah.
And, but at the same time, I think there's a heel move where a return, a Luke Harper or maybe even a Sami Zayn, costs it the match, and Daniel Bryan walks away with it.
Yeah, I think it's totally possible. I think Daniel Bryan winning can definitely build into Daniel Bryan against a lot of people. Daniel Bryan and Kevin Owens moving forward would not be bad. Yeah. We still haven't gotten that one-on-one. Daniel Bryan creating a faction, like you said, with like a Luke
I'm
Harper
so
and a
faction
Sami Zayn.
hungry.
Yeah.
Gosh.
If
sorry.
he had the championship and he were to leave WrestleMania with Eric and with a Luke or with Sammy or with all of them, then yeah, you have this incredible faction that's protecting Daniel Bryan with his championship, and he can continue being everything that he's been. So I think there's a great storyline on the other side of either one.
Yeah.
So I could see it going either way. I think, like I said, Kofi's win would mean so much to so many people.
Yeah.
I think it'd be a shame for it to not happen.
Yeah, I think so too. I don't know. I think it's just not yet. You know, just like the Iconics holding the belt. I think it's not yet, and I don't know. I'm going with Daniel Bryan. I just don't think they're going to take it off of him yet.
I think even Daniel Bryan losing to Kofi still builds an amazing storyline for Kofi and Daniel Bryan to continue.
Oh yes, 100%.
You know what I mean? So I think if Kofi won it, you'd have a bitter, angry Daniel Bryan who has even more reason to recruit the likes of Luke and Sammy to get after Kofi. And then you've got a faction versus the New Day. You could have quite the battle on the other side if Kofi Kingston did win it.
Yeah.
So for that reason alone, I'm going to go with Kofi because it's a better reason for Daniel to build a faction.
Yeah.
But
like I said, I don't think it's in their eyes time. I'm gonna go Daniel Bryan just off of pure gut, basically, because like I said, I think it's a coin toss.
I think
on
it's
this one.
absolutely. I think you could go either way, and I think that no matter which way you go, there's an amazing story on the other side, and I think Kofi can still do the win. I think it's just to the fans, WrestleMania moments mean so much. I was watching an interview today that Goldust had did, where he talked about his WrestleMania 12 match with Roddy Piper and mentioned that that was his real WrestleMania moment. He had a couple of WrestleMania matches, but that was his moment. And he said it also happened at a time before people referred to things as a WrestleMania moment.
Yeah.
And that's what it is. I think we all want that moment for Kofi. Daniel Bryan's had that moment before.
Several times.
A couple of times. And Kofi hasn't. So that I think our hearts want it to be Kofi, and that's where I'm going to lie on. But the company itself has every reason to not go that route. And
By
still
the
get an
way,
amazing
the Sami Zayn reference is just pure speculation. You know, there was the promo that they had a while back, Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn returning. We've seen Kevin Owens. We haven't seen Sami Zayn.
Yeah, and Sammy's going to be back soon, and Sammy is a vegan. He is outspoken about politics on his Twitter. I'm a big fan of Sammy. I've followed him on all those things. I have several Sammy figures up on my wall over there.
As you can see.
Yeah, I've got a stack of Sammy
But,
signatures
you know,
in the back. But
I just didn't want anyone to think that, you know, we heard something or you know, this is just us rambling.
it's just based completely off what we see and not
Yeah.
because of some sort of stupid
And a little
inside
bit of what we
information.
hope.
Yeah, and just what we hope. And that's what it is at this point, I don't see a good reason Sammy shouldn't be able to come back. But I don't know his health. I don't know where he's at with his physical training. So, but
That's it?
yeah,
I
I think
wanted the disclaimer in there.
yeah, I think that Sammy is in line mentally with Daniel Bryan's current storyline, and I think that he is so great on the mic and so great as a heel that he could feed into that and just fucking go, just go. But I think that it should be Kofi. Stackhouse believes that it would be bad PR if he didn't win. I don't think they care about bad PR. Otherwise,
they did a show in Saudi Arabia.
They did a show in Saudi Arabia after the fact.
Journalist was killed, and
I mean, Vince slapped Bob Costas' papers out of his hand. Some other dude too.
Yeah.
Like Vince is pretty cool about bad PR. But I do think that
he made people kiss his ass.
yeah. But then he also kissed Rikishi's ass. So
But who doesn't want to do that?
that's good. That's true. Naya, sit on my face. Some asshole behind me at Rumble was doing that the whole time. Either way. I don't think that it's a bad PR move to have Kofi lose because I think Kofi can still win down the line. I think it's a great PR move if he wins, but I don't think it's a bad PR move if he loses.
I think either way, like I said, once again, coin toss. Either way you look at it, either
Amazing
way,
story looking forward.
whatever outcome happens, there's a lot to do with it.
Yeah. Not the same Universal Championship Brock versus Seth. I don't think there's a good way in or out of any Brock Lesnar match. I think they're going to give it to Brock, which Sounds like Stackhouse also believes that he thinks that Rollins is going to lose, but he doesn't think it's a huge shock. I do. Talking to a ton of people when I was at the Rumble and Seth won, their argument was 100% of the time when I asked why Seth, they said who else to beat Brock. There was just so many people who thought that Seth has to be the one to, quote, slay the beast if he slayed the king.
No.
That's their t-shirt. That's what they're going with. I would prefer if he was the beast master than the beast slayer.
I don't know. I think
If I'm sitting through 7 hours of Mania, they better give me a feel-good moment, god damn it. I think they'll give us that with Becky. I don't think they're going to give us that with... I don't know that they'll give us that with Kofi. I think Kofi... in my heart, I think you give Kofi the win. I think you give Seth the loss. You get people to go, how the F did this happen? How could this be? And then you move on to, but it's okay. We'll give you back Becky. But
I think the same thing. I think there's so many people that want Brock gone,
yeah,
and I'm one of them.
yeah, I am not a fan of watching him work anymore.
But I just think everyone's expecting him to be gone at Mania. We expected it last year. I think the same thing. Seth winning it, okay, he's going to be the one to get rid of Brock. And I think he retains. Whether it's one night, 2 months, who knows if he's even going.
Good point. We'll get into it right now. What I want more than anything, and I've been telling this jerk for months, what I want, since Royal Rumble, I've said it, I want Seth
Since
to
the
go to...
announcement.
Since Seth said he was going against Brock, sure, go against Brock. Lose to Brock. I want Monday Night Raw, the night after WrestleMania, Dean Ambrose to come out, challenge Brock, take the belt. Even if it's just for the night and he loses it the next week and then is gone from the company. Everyone knows his contract is ending.
Or that could have been a work. From the beginning, I thought it was a work.
I've thought it was too, but I also think that it's so weird that if it wouldn't be... At this point, I feel confident his contract is probably ending, but I don't know what that means. If it's a work, awesome. Let's really work with it. I think if it's real, I think either way, you have Dean Ambrose take the belt off Brock and then do whatever you got to do to get it off Dean if he's leaving, or leave it on Dean if he's staying.
Yeah.
But I think if Seth loses it and Dean takes it, that'll be the big shock moment. No one will think that Dean Ambrose is going to show up to take the Universal title off Brock.
I think that'd be awesome. Just fanboy stuff, that'd be great.
Yeah.
You can do a lot with it. Could be, just awesome. No
It
one
could be.
expects it.
Yeah.
Here's the curveball, the swerve.
Yeah, and if it's a work and Dean is really with the company, Stackhouse thinks they've already announced Brock to be on the Saudi show. That's likely true. I haven't seen that yet, but I believe it's probably there. It would be amazing if Brock was at the Saudi show trying to take back his title from Dean Ambrose. Even then, they've had smaller contracts with guys. A guy like Dean who's saying, I'm not going to renew for long term, I think he's the same type of dude who might say, I'll renew for a short term.
Yeah, 6 months.
You know what I mean? Yeah, give me 6 months because I do want out. I want out, but I can see the art and what you want to do, right? So I think that Dean potentially taking the belt the night after, Brock going to Saudi Arabia to try and win it back. Maybe he does, maybe he doesn't. But the shock of Dean winning it on Raw would be huge. It'd be crazy.
When is the Saudi show?
I don't know.
Was it? I know last year's
Just ask Jeeves real quick.
Greatest Royal Rumble, wasn't it?
Oh, they
Like
just
the next
they
month.
just moved it. It was supposed to be in May. They moved it to June.
Okay.
It's like June 6th now.
Okay.
It was announced for like May 13th or some shit, and then it just got pushed back. I remember reading that. So it'll be in June. So I mean, yeah, you can have a 2-3 month contract. And hey, there's the thing. So my pick is Brock because for one, I'm tired of Seth.
Yeah.
I know I'm not supposed to be tired of Seth. I know I'm supposed to be rooting for him, but he's boring, like you said as well. His matches are incredible. Some of the best guys some of the people's best matches are against guys like Seth. I think Seth is our current generation Bret Hart, but I think he doesn't have the charisma that Bret had. I don't think he has the promo that Bret had, but I think he has the capability Bret had of bringing out the absolute best in whoever he worked with.
Very technical.
Absolutely technical and has a vision. for the match, right? So Brett almost looked at a ring canvas the same way that a painter looks at a painting canvas. And I feel that Seth does the same thing. The Seth KO match for the IC title was perfect. Top to bottom, absolutely perfect. Beautiful match. It was the first time we saw Kevin Owens do the stunner. It was amazing.
Yeah.
Doesn't get enough talk. No one talks about it, and it was absolutely incredible.
See, and going back to Kevin Owens real quick is, you know, he's not building on anything. He's got to do something. Maybe Samoa Joe.
That'd be cool.
You know, you bring him back and then not have him scheduled for anything on Mania, to me, doesn't make sense.
No, not when you've had KO Mania
Yeah.
twice now. Someone
Twice or
even
3 times?
It's been. I think we've had 2 KO Mania,
okay.
and then someone asked him once the KO Mania 3 shirt was going to come out, and he tweeted back, "I have to be on the show first."
Yeah.
I was like, oh.
But, you know, going back to the Brock and Seth, like, I want to root for Seth. I want him to win. I want Brock gone.
Yeah.
You know, I want a Universal Champion that's there. And, you know, you don't have to defend the belt every night, but just show up, cut a promo.
Did you see that? Technically speaking, the Boston Hug Connection has defended their title more since they won it than Brock did in an entire year due to the house shows and stuff that they've done.
Which is insane.
So stupid. Yeah, Brock is so absent that he's turned a belt irrelevant. Here's the other weird bit, and I don't mean to talk poorly of anybody, especially someone who's like a hero to me, like Jimmy Corderas. But he mentioned that he thought that the Universal title was a belt built for Brock, but Brock wasn't even in the company when it showed up.
Yeah.
And when I think about it, if that were true, let's say they did, it's unfortunate that they would have created a belt for him that he would have then turned irrelevant because of his absence.
Well, and the thing was is that they pushed the Universal above the WWE Championship. This is, you know...
Yeah, this is supposed to be bigger.
The whole thing, and, you know...
It's supposed to be the champion of the people, right? The Universal in the WWE Universe.
Yeah.
I don't feel that fucking way.
Well, The Rock needs it.
Yeah, move to The Rock. Or Becky. Let Becky have it.
Yeah, Becky, give her all 3 belts.
Yeah, give her all 3. Winner take the whole show.
Yeah.
Everyone just comes out and hands Becky the belts like Rudy.
Yeah.
Where they all put their jerseys down.
Yeah.
Everyone's putting their belts down in front of Becky.
It's Wheel of Fortune. Or
Yeah.
not Wheel of Fortune, Price is Right. She wins both lots. Let's do it. But, yeah, I want Seth to win. But I think Brock's going to win.
I think it's Brock, too. I could also see them giving it over to McIntyre on Raw.
Maybe.
I could see McIntyre having... Like, if McIntyre gets the win over Roman, then Rollins gets the loss, and then Brock comes out to brag, and then Roman... I know you'd have 2 heels in a match, but... Not Roman, but Brock. You'd have 2 heels, Brock and Drew McIntyre, but McIntyre can come out and be like, hey, you piece of garbage.
But if McIntyre wins, he's a face of them. You know, like
Yeah,
immediately.
turns him.
Yeah.
Which he'd make a great face.
Yeah.
He'd be fine.
Yeah. Everyone, I love this guy. Thank you.
He finally killed the beast.
Yeah.
And then you would have that over Rollins, and you'd
Yeah.
have that over the whole Shield or whatever. Like you'd have a lot to work with if you gave it to someone like McIntyre the next night.
Yeah.
And then you have McIntyre and Brock rematch at Saudi Arabia. Could be great.
Yeah.
Could be absolutely great. Make it a weird shit match on Raw that wasn't very good, but you're like, oh, at least the belt's gone.
Yeah.
And then put them together in Saudi Arabia and make it like a 15-minute match, 10-minute match. I don't know if Brock can go 15, to be honest. But put them in like a 10 to 15-minute match and then make it a thing. Yeah, she'll let us know.
Yeah. Let me call her real quick.
I'm picking Brock. You're picking Brock? You want Seth, but you're
I
picking
want
Brock.
Seth, yeah, but I'll pick Brock.
Yeah, that's fair.
If I had to bet money on it, I'm putting Brock.
All right, and you do. The winner take all match is going to be what they believe to be the match to close out the show. They've only alluded to it closing out the show, I think, once on TV.
I've seen it a couple of times.
Really?
Like with they said it on the show once, and then like when they show like Sports Center tweets, you know, Sports Illustrated, one of them said closing out the show.
Closing out the show?
Yeah.
Okay. Because my concern being that the women's match is the main event. But we have had many a main event that did not close out the show, and I want the women to close out the show. So, yes, they are going to be the main event. I don't believe that they're closing out the show until I see it, but that's what I want for sure, 100%. And I want Becky to do the whole thing. I clearly am a big Becky fan with my Becky braid. But the Brock versus Goldberg match was the main event 2 years ago, and Roman and Undertaker closed out the show. Davey Boy Smith and Bret Hart was the main event, but I believe it was Shawn and Diesel closed out the show in that SummerSlam in '92, I think. But there's been a number of times that the main event is not the closer of the show. Theoretically, AJ versus Shinsuke was supposed to be the main event last year. It did not close out the show. They just call things main event. It doesn't mean that it's going to close. And I think that the first time you have the women be the main event, I think it's more important that they also be the last thing that you see. I think that if they were the main event and then later on you have the first time in history the women close out the show, it would be unfortunate. I think you do the whole thing. Make them the main event. Let them be the last shot you get. And if the last shot is Becky holding up 2 titles, you win.
Yeah.
You
Well,
win.
either way, like you
Everyone goes home happy after 8 hours
said. Yeah.
of effing wrestling.
But like you said, the big thing right now is them closing out the show. We want to see whoever wins with the copyright right next to their
No corner.
face, or in their shot, and them holding up both titles.
The same way that
Call
Seth
it.
Rollins talks about how he was the end of 32 holding up the belt. And he was like, I can't believe the show goes off the air and I'm the final image. And he talks about that because that means something. And I want that to mean the same thing to this.
But going into the match, I want Becky. Big Becky fan. A little bit sick of Charlotte.
Let's go, Becky.
They put Charlotte in our face almost as much as Roman,
Yeah.
if not more. Well, no. But,
No, 'cause she didn't open every effing
yeah,
show.
I was going to say.
Every single Raw starts, Donna,
Yeah.
Donna. All right. Okay.
You think that's a part of the whole intro?
I thought it was part of the intro.
They do the now, then, and forever, and then dun. Okay,
Yeah.
so what's going on?
Boop, 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 boop,
Yeah.
boop, 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 boop.
Becky, I want her to win. Charlotte, sick of. Ronda, I'm so mixed with her.
Yeah.
I think she's great skill. She's getting better as, the more matches she puts on.
The way she's starting to manipulate her moves in the air is
That's
really something
That's
else.
really good. The only thing with her is I was annoyed, and I've told you several times, how quick they threw the belt on her. She was
Really?
inexperienced. If it wasn't for her name and she was coming up through NXT, she wouldn't even have got a call up. They would have been like, hey, you got skills. Mike skills.
Well,
Eh.
look at Shayna and her 2
Yeah,
buddies.
yeah.
The rest of the 3-4 horsewomen of UFC all went through NXT. Ronda did not.
Yeah.
Not because of that she was that much better than them,
It was just
but
the
because
name.
that her name was that much better than them. That's not to say that Ronda's not better than them.
Yeah.
Ronda probably is.
Yes.
Based off of accolades alone. It's probably safe to say that Ronda is the best of the entire 4.
Yes.
However, anyone else, they're going through
through
NXT.
NXT. Yeah, exactly. And it almost made me not a fan of her.
Yeah,
When they said Ronda's coming to WWE, I got excited.
I was thrilled.
Yeah, I was a UFC fan of hers, and her going to WWE, I'm like, cool, this is gonna be great.
That was some of the first UFC matches me and my girlfriend started watching together. We made sure we were watching those. So she was in the Navy at the time. Even when she was abroad and a Ronda match would happen, it was, you have to see this. We would both try and see it live and then talk about it. Ronda in the UFC was big to us. We were super excited when she was coming to WWF.
Yes.
WWE.
E.
E.
Get the F out.
Get the F out.
Yeah. Anyways, so like I said, I was really excited that she was coming, and then she showed up. Okay, cool. And then there was that weird interaction with Nia on the red carpet somewhere.
Oh, yeah.
And well, if you're so good, I'll challenge you. Well, I've never seen a champion challenge somebody else really. And then Alexa got involved, Money in the Bank, blah blah blah. But I think they just put the belt on her way too quick.
Yeah.
And because when she had the belt, or when she first won the belt, she was still developing. And right now, where she's at is great.
Yeah.
If she was winning the belt or going up for the belt at Mania.
It'd be hard to root against her.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But I think people got so sick because they immediately thought Brock, oh, here's the champion,
Yeah.
here you go.
I know this is your second time, but you're better than everyone ever.
Yeah, it wasn't 2 out of her first 3 matches were title matches.
Mm-hmm.
And, so ever since then, I've she's left a, sour taste in my mouth. And so going back to this match, storyline-wise, cool. Ronda did help get to the main eventing WrestleMania.
No.
But I don't know. There's really outside of that. There's nothing that wants me to root for her here.
Yeah. Other than the eyes that she's brought to it is great. The way that she's learned is great.
She's brought in more casual fans, more fans in general.
Absolutely.
But
I make the joke with my friend all the time that his favorite Ronda's doing this and that, and he's like, "Why did you ever think I was?" And like even UFC, I didn't care about it, but all the time because she's mainstream. She's mainstream outside of, and so it's like I know that you know the name Ronda Rousey, so I joke to you that that's your favorite. But she definitely has done so much good for the company, and if it was Charlotte and Becky alone, I don't know that it would be in the main event.
No,
I know that I would
don't
not
think
care
so.
as much.
Yeah.
With Becky and Charlotte, I know they will put on the best match of the night, Becky and Charlotte together. But like you were about to say, we've seen it.
Yeah.
We've seen it a bunch.
Yeah.
Is it going to be main event? I don't know. I doubt it. Charlotte and Asuka could be main event. But would they be? No.
No.
So I think Ronda definitely put them in that spot that they deserved to be in already, but that the company was uncomfortable with putting them in. So I think that Ronda was their security blanket. She was like a booking security blanket where the women deserved it. They earned it. They already had every reason to be there. Becky was already the biggest talk of the entire industry. And Ronda was that comfort little hug around Vince to say, it's okay to put you in the main event. You can close the show. Look it, it's me.
Take it, do it. Just
Just
do
let
it.
me, I got you. Look it, what's going to happen?
Yeah.
But yeah, watching Ronda have the title while she learned was frustrating. I think it undermined the original storyline she even walked into, which was her against the Authority. You're gonna be a corporate champion. You're gonna be a corporate player, and she was like very much against that. And then she was given the title, and then no one could ever move it. Where if she'd been fighting like Stone Cold against the Authority the whole way to the title, where Vince is even ringside, trying to cheat them out of the match. The same way with Foley when he won it. Vince was ringside going, no, damn it, no, how could this happen? If you had done that same thing with Ronda and the Authority, I would have been rooting for Ronda the whole time.
100%. Almost what they did with Kofi.
Yeah,
If,
exactly
if
the
Ronda
story
was
for
in
Kofi.
Kofi's storyline, great. I'd be rooting for Ronda. Do it, finally. You paid your dues in UFC. The Authorities screwed you over several times here.
Yeah.
Do it.
Yeah. But at this point, Ronda's coming in with the belt. Charlotte's got a belt. I'm afraid that they're trying to make Charlotte look like an underdog until they gave her the belt, because they had Charlotte lose that first person to whoop the Riot Squad thing, which was weird.
That random beat the challenge.
I didn't
Or
like
beat
that.
the clock.
But it made Charlotte look like the underdog and Becky look like the top dog. And I was like, I don't like Becky going in as not the underdog, because I like a good underdog story, and I know that I know the WWE does too. So I'm like, I don't want them looking like Becky's the favorite, because then they'll feel bad giving Becky the win, and I want Becky to get that effing win.
Yes. Becky should come out as the demon.
Ooh, I bet you she's got some demon. Her and Fergal go back.
Yeah.
He's the first one who ever trained her.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah.
They popped it up as a "Did you know?"
Oh yeah, they did. Yeah.
That's when I found out, and I told you, and you're like, "Yeah, dummy."
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
How did you think that he didn't train her?
Yeah. Who else out of Ireland wouldn't have trained her?
Yeah.
She came up through the Sheamus School of Wrestling.
Yeah.
Sorry.
And then she almost quit, and he brought her back into it. And there was an interview I saw with her where it was they had said, think of the person. If it weren't for this person, you wouldn't be where you are today. Like the one person who changed your life.
Mm-hmm.
Think of the one person where because of them you are exactly where you are now. And if it weren't for them, you would be in a completely other area.
Mm-hmm.
And she, I mean, like almost no hesitation, Fergal.
Yeah.
It's his name, Fergal.
Yeah.
So she's like Fergal, and she almost started crying, talking about how much he did to keep her in the business and train her through the business and all that. So they're really close friends, I'm sure. I think it'd be really funny if she came out as a demon, but it also wouldn't make no sense. It would also make a little bit of sense if Becky came out as a demon.
There's actually backstory.
Yeah, there's the man and the demon, and you're like, oh shit.
Yeah.
Finn taught her a little something about Irish folklore, huh? Stackhouse loves Charlotte, but is going Becky. I think we all feel the same, that Charlotte is so good, but has been in our face for so long. And I really, as much as I hear people on Twitter talk about it, I do not think for a second she's a better promo than Becky. I think Charlotte is not a better promo. They talk about how she's like leaps and bounds better as a worker than all of the women's division, and I don't agree with that, I think, at all. I think that Becky, Sasha, Bailey, really even Ember and Asuka, I think any one of them on any given night could outperform Charlotte. I think it's absolutely up there because I think that they all push each other so much. And it's not to say that Becky's worse than all of them, but they're all just as good as her.
Yeah.
You know?
It's not taking anything away from Charlotte either.
No.
She's amazing talent, but any given day, you know, anyone can step up.
Yeah.
And, you know, outperform her, like you said, and
watch Evolution and tell me that none of those people deserve to be there.
yeah.
The Riot Squad,
Nia?
amazing. Oh, wasn't she in Evolution? Was Nia in Evolution? I hope not.
I think she was.
I think I erased her. The Riot Squad, I think I'm hoping 2019 is their year. I think they have every capability to be just as good as Charlotte on every front. I think Ruby's actually better on the mic than Charlotte.
Yeah. And Riot Squad's the only reason why Brie Bella's even walking.
Yeah. Literally saved her life twice in one match.
Yeah.
Then they saved Sasha Banks' life at Evolution.
Mm-hmm.
Which I want to rewatch that match. When I met Sasha and Bailey, and I showed them the picture of Evolution and had them sign it, Bailey said something about taking a significant kick.
Oh, really?
She was like, oh yeah, I took that kick and all this stuff. And I was like, I do not remember a kick and thinking, what the F was that? So now I'm like, now I want to go back and see if there's some major kick that happened like Bailey's face or something.
Yeah.
But
Brie wasn't involved in that match.
No. So who would have done it?
Who
That's
cares?
just it. It was the Riot Squad.
Yeah.
What kick are you talking about? Sasha, all like.
Don't
But
get Corey started.
yeah, yeah.
We all know how much Graves loves him some Sasha.
Ugh. Corey is such a scumbag. No love lost for that guy. If he disappeared tomorrow from the commentary, I wouldn't be like, what happened? I'd be like, well, obviously.
Obviously.
Yeah. But yeah, I think we're all going to go Becky on that one. I think that is the story of the year. I think that giving the titles to anyone else is a disservice to the work that Becky's put in over the last number of years. I don't think that either Charlotte or Ronda have the footing to say that they've worked harder than Becky this year. I don't. I think that if it weren't for Becky, Charlotte and Ronda wouldn't be main event.
Yeah.
Just as much as Ronda made Becky Charlotte main event, I think that Becky made Charlotte Ronda main event. I think if you had Charlotte and Ronda, it would have been a match before.
I even think that without Charlotte, Becky's main event.
Main event, yes. I think
Because
Becky and Ronda main
Charlotte
event.
was just thrown in there.
Yeah.
You know, the whole Vince, we want her.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because we've talked about it. We wanted Becky, Ronda, one-on-one. Let's do this. And also...
So did SportsCenter.
And the other thing that we were annoyed about is that the SmackDown Women's Championship.
Yeah.
How that was just thrown in there last minute. Here, winner takes all, do this. And
That's annoying. It undermines the entire SmackDown division.
undermines Asuka big time.
Awesome. Yeah.
Her big win against Becky at
Thrown in the
Rumble.
garbage. Thrown away like it was nothing.
Yeah. Keeps her off TV for months.
And as much as I don't know, because I am no insider.
And we know you don't know.
And I do not know anything. There's a part of me that is sure that Becky said, I'm tapping out to Asuka in the middle.
Mm-hmm.
Right? There's a part that there is no way that Becky was going to let that be a schmoz finish or a controversial finish because I think that Becky knew how important it was to Asuka's character to get that win and be a formidable champion. However, they immediately did not book her for a month. And so how do you not have Asuka on TV for a month and then want her to be a champion people believe in? She should have been out there every week defeating somebody. But I think we're all going to go Becky. Go Becky or go home. That's what I say. I've always said that.
Starting now.
Yeah, starting now.
Get the Becky or Go Home t-shirts tomorrow.
Yeah, Becky 316. Boo the Woo. Did you see the new Ronda shirt in the Slam Crate?
Yeah.
I liked it. I didn't realize it was a bar shirt.
Yeah.
I thought it was like a dojo shirt.
Probably go grab it.
Show it up?
Yeah.
It's over in the other room. I can go grab it real quick.
Box is right there.
Box is empty. Shirt's over there. But
Anyways.
there was a really cool t-shirt came out in the Slam Crate. Like it says, "What's on tap, tap, tap."
Yeah.
Yeah, that was good.
that's
That was
good.
clever.
But speaking of Slam Crate real quick, that shit show.
Yeah, Slam Crate's kind of a shit show. They either do it really well or it's like, who the fuck works there?
They were a month late on this one. And
Oh.
then didn't get a poster in it.
I was going to tell you the guy at headlocked.com, he emailed me today saying that the shipment's going to go out a day late and he's going to send me the tracking number straight away as soon as he has it, which is huge because it's been a back and forth for a long time about the original shipment not having any communication, for him to communicate straight away that there was an error or an issue. Amazing. That's all I need from him, and as a business owner, he should be doing that. So I'm glad he is. Any questions from anybody before we
Last call.
shut it down? Yeah, last call.
Take one more sip for last call.
We didn't tonight review Raw or SmackDown,
That was weak.
and we didn't really review NXT, which earlier in the evening, right after NXT came on, I did for a little bit, kind of by myself. It wasn't great, so I just deleted it. But we didn't really review stuff so much this week. We're getting prepped for WrestleMania this week. This is kind of a soft open, not the grand opening, and hopefully next week we'll be able to go live and feel live and start talking about what just happened. Today we're going to speculate about what's going to happen. If you have any questions about anything before we close out?
Clump's gonna be here.
Clump, he looks like he sounds. Dude's a clump of a man. He kind of looks like a chicken nugget, but not like Mike McZannon's dad. Not like the Miz's dad looks like a potato.
Yeah, I went through an old box and found those old chicken nugget toys.
Yes, with the arms and shit.
Yeah, oh, like you put hats on them and stuff. I'll bring them over for him.
Are you talking about G1, the ROH and New Japan show? I think you're thinking of G1 for at Madison Square Garden. I'm not going to tune into that strictly because it's $70, I believe, last I checked. I can look again, but on the Fight app, I believe it was $60 or $70, $69.99, I thought. To pay $70 to watch one show, you have to make me want it. I've seen the card. It looks interesting. There are matches that I'm curious about that I'll probably watch after the fact. But as of right now, watching it live is not really a thing. I am going to go to StarCast, and so I'll be there in Vegas during Double or Nothing. We don't have tickets to Double or Nothing at this point. I thought StarCast was going to go on beyond Double or Nothing, and actually it's going to be closed for the event for like the entirety of that day almost, which is really upsetting for an event that bills itself as not associated with AEW.
Yeah.
And then to say we're closed like for 9 hours for a 2-hour show. Go effing figure. So maybe I will last second buy a couple tickets just to be there. But at this point, no, I'm not planning on seeing the G1. Are you planning on checking out the G1 show? There's a delay.
Okay.
I didn't mean to speak over you. Did you plan on watching G1?
No.
No. Okay.
No.
I'll look up the cost of it right now.
Anything else you want to go over real quick?
Um,
What grinds your gears? What's
Diecast is gonna watch it. I'd be really curious. I'd be anxious for you to, or excited. It was probably more so than anxious. To tell me what you think about it. I do believe on the screen is my Instagram, or not Instagram. Wait, is that my Instagram? Or is that my Twitter? I don't know now. He says it's $40 right now. Oh shit! I opened on Instagram and a friend of mine just got married. God damn! I gotta log in more of them. That's my Twitter on there. If you want to hit me up on Twitter, wait, he said his Twitter. He already found me on Twitter.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah, dude. Yeah, find me on Twitter. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about G1 as you watch it. Tell me what you think is shitty.
If it's $40, maybe
might be worth it for us to pitch in together. But that's gonna be same time of Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
I do want to see Hall of Fame.
That'll always be on the network.
That's always going to be on the network. That's true. I do work Saturday. Is the other thing. So I guess it'd be up to you if you want to. I'd be willing to split it with you.
When does it start?
Let's see. Saturday I'm out at 5. Wow, that's early for me. And then it's 40. Two days, 40 pre-order. Bully Ray's gonna be in it. Jay Lethal, Dalton Castle, the Briscoe brothers. Jay White. What do you think of Jay White? I don't like him, and I think it's just because he hurt Jim Ross. But I know he didn't mean to. Am I just being a dick? You can tell me. Yeah, please someone tell him. 4:30 p.m. Mountain Standard Time.
I can't be the only one.
Yeah. So it means it'd be going on live, I think, about a half hour after I get out of work. 3 minutes of opening match or so. I could probably hit up Clump too and see if he wants to watch it. And we all pitch in, and then I'll use my login so he can stream or come over.
Yeah.
And is Brian Cage in that one as well? I think Brian Cage is supposed to have a match that one. Let's see, we got Jay Watt versus Okada. I think that's got to be good, right? Jay Lethal versus Tavern and Marty Scurll. Marty Scurll's incredible. Gorillas of Destiny, I'm not as familiar with. PCO or Brody King. Santana and Briscoes are supposed to be great. 3-way. Ishimura, Bandito, Dragon Lee. Bully Ray's New York Street Fight Open Challenge. That's pretty cool. I didn't realize he's having an open challenge.
That's the Cena match.
That is the John Cena of street fights. Rush versus Dalton Castle on a Rumble. Tetsuya Naito versus Kota Ibushi. That's actually got to be pretty good. Yeah. Both those guys are really good. I have seen them before. Will Ospreay is amazing. The never openweight champion versus Jeff Cobb, the ROH World Television Champion. I've never seen a match that Will Ospreay put on that wasn't like something that everyone should watch over and over again. So, Zack Sabre versus Hiroshi Tanahashi. That's actually going to be really good. I mean, it's a really good lineup. Maybe we'll see if we can convince ourselves to do it. There's a lot of good reasons to do it. I used to live in New York. If I still lived there, I would bet that I would be talking to a bunch of people I knew to try and sneak myself into that show, to be honest.
I won't buy a ticket, but...
Oh, yeah, but I worked security for so long. I'd be like, come on, someone's got to get me into Madison Square. And the venue itself is so amazing. Yeah. The Garden is just beautiful on the inside and on the outside. So, like, going into there for any shows were incredible. I saw a hockey game there, and I saw Walking Dead premiere there. Oh, really? It's absolutely incredible. So, yeah, I would definitely be trying to sneak in there if I still lived there. So, maybe I'll see if I can get one more person besides Kevlar over here to pitch in to try and get it.
Just one random question. Where are you guys located?
Yeah, where are you from? Where are you at?
We're over here in good old Tucson, Arizona.
Tucson, Arizona.
I'm just wondering where you guys, coming from. You guys have any other questions? What you liked, what you didn't like?
Yeah, is there something we effed up on? We should do different?
Should we be drinking more?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Stackhouse also doesn't like Jay White, but he says doesn't feel like he's a replacement for Omega. I agree. I don't feel like the Jay White taking over for Omega felt as big to me as Omega taking a championship. Was it from Ibushi or whatever? I forget. And I don't follow the indies that closely, but I do look at them and I do keep track of them. Oklahoma.
Nice.
Good old JR.
Have you tried his barbecue sauce?
Yeah, I mean, it's good. I mean,
That was,
have you ever run into JR? I mean, you guys a Sooner, right? So is Jack Hager. Jake Hager.
Jake Hager.
Jack Swagger.
Yeah.
The Okies. Yeah. I do listen to a lot of Jim Ross's podcast. I listen to JR about half of what Jericho puts out. I'm a huge Jericho fan. As you can see from the picture behind, I went to a Fozzy concert and got a signed poster. But he does a lot of stuff that's just out there, so I don't listen to all of them. But I listen to a lot of Jericho, X-Pac, JR, something to wrestle with. I've been starting to listen to 83 Weeks, and I listen to Sean Mooney's podcast. Sean Mooney's Primetime with Mooney is, I think, the sleeper podcast that no one talks about. That he asks the questions that every time I hear, I go, oh my God, why has no one asked that? He's got an unopened bottle of it in his shelf of the JR's barbecue.
Oh, really?
Yeah. What did you put it on when you
Ribs.
had it? Ribs?
Yeah. It's pretty good.
It doesn't sauce my ribs, as JR says.
We had the spicy one and the original.
And he's got a ketchup type too.
I think he has ketchup and mustard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's like one store now that sells it, and then there's the WWE shop. And the shop's been really good, I guess, about keeping inventory of it. When they sell out, they usually ask him for more.
Nice.
He talked about that on his podcast as well. I liked it. I liked it when I tried it. I thought it was really good. I think it's probably better if he serves it to you.
Yeah.
I did get for StarCast, I got the meet and greet for Sting in his face paint. The, not that you asked, to be the fifth member of the NWO. So you go with Nash, Hall, Bischoff, and Sean Waltman. And I got the JR and King together. So
Your buddy.
that'll be good. My pal, Jerry
My
Lawler.
buddy,
My pal. But yeah, I should ask Jim Ross for some jerky or something. Give me some of that shriveled beef, Ross.
Yeah.
See what he says.
I don't think you should phrase it like that.
I don't see why not.
Give me a meat steak, please.
Oh, he's an indie worker who got to meet Swagger.
nice.
Swagger on the Jim Ross show turned me around on him. To be honest, I wasn't a big Jack Swagger fan.
I like him.
Yeah, you've always liked him a lot. I just kind of never connected with him. And then in that interview, he mentioned, what was it? He talked about training on stuff that's not something you're good at. And he said that it's not fun to try and practice things that you're bad at. And that that's the whole purpose of training. And I thought that that was such an obvious and simple thing that no one talks about. Everyone talks about how much their passion drives them and how much they love the training and they love this. They love everything. Everybody loves everything about everything that they do. But he talked about how frustrating and not fun it is to practice at something you're bad at. And I felt like that was one of the most inspiring things I'd heard in a long time. Like, it's not going to be fun. When you're trying to do something and you want to be good at something, but you're not, it sucks. You are awful and it's going to be bad and you're not going to have fun. And then eventually you get to the point where you will. And I thought that was huge. I thought that was big. So it turned me around on him. I thought it was really cool. I'm not an indie worker per se. I have the Ref Marsh moniker because I do work with a couple local promotions here in town, and I do ref for them from time to time. But mostly I move around their ring and their parts of it, tear it down and stuff, and load up the trucks, which you'd be surprised how many indie workers think that they're above that, or maybe you wouldn't. Maybe you can tell me that you're not surprised at all that how many indie workers think that they've already paid their dues and they've already put in the 2 years But Royal Rumble weekend, we were there for the whole weekend.
Everything.
Yeah, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. We stayed through SmackDown. And at the end of SmackDown, something that really moved me as someone who really likes the idea of being a ref, and I enjoy reffing a lot. And I've told the promoters I work with that that's really my thing. I don't want to be a wrestler. So the training with me has always been weird. But a lot of people that don't know how to train a ref, they say. So, but either way, the first person in the ring at the end of SmackDown to tear it down was Charles Robinson. And he was in there in a regular t-shirt, still had his ref pants and his ref shoes on, and he had a wrench in his hand, and he ran from the back to the ring and started loosening up the turnbuckles. And I took a picture of that, and I thought, this dude doesn't feel like he... What?
Little Nate.
Little Nate does not feel like he's paid his dues. And when I talked to him several times that weekend because we stayed in the same hotel, and I was telling him about, you know, how I looked up to him and all that. And he was telling me how he hopes the company will keep him around for another 10 years. He really wants to stay with them, and that he feels like every day is a blessing, and he puts forth all that work because he doesn't feel like he's done enough yet.
He's grateful.
He's grateful for all of it.
Yeah.
And
That's just today's society. There's
Yeah.
so many people that take stuff for granted and aren't grateful for everything, and he's 100% grateful for everything he has. And
Absolutely. And he wants to work hard enough that they see a value in him. And he wants to prove his value every night and work that level every night. And I couldn't believe it. I thought, if anybody in this entire industry feels like that they haven't paid their dues, and it's Charles Robinson, who's been a ref and been building rings and tearing down rings for that many years, and he feels like he's still got to do it. He's still the first one to do it. I was like, well, F everybody in this promotion who doesn't show up. It's me and, was it one of the other refs? And usually one of the dudes who brings his girlfriend, who's only been there for like a year. Like, where the F are your champions? Where are the guys who are using the time in that ring? Because they're not here tearing it down. But they sure do take advantage of it when it's up. Yeah, Stackhouse says he's not surprised it's a big issue. Do you listen to the Xbox podcast? The Xbox 12360? Because there's an episode in there recently that I would say if you haven't heard, it's worth finding and listening to. And I'll tell you the name of it. And it talks about the one where he went to the Performance Center. Let me pull it up. The March 20th episode. Yeah, it was like the third one down. Xbox Week at the Performance Center, and Rory Karp on the Luke Harper on Xbox, episode 130. Listen to it. Listen to the first 20 minutes of it. He goes through a whole thing. And if you do find me on Twitter and you follow it, I retweeted a whole clip he did where he talks about the workflow of these guys who are tearing down the ring and the effort they put into it, and how if he had helped, which he tried to do, X-Pac was trying to help them tear down the ring, and they said, no, you're going to be in our way, that he was going to be in their way because they have such a great way of doing it, that he would have slowed them down. And he talks about that all of that stuff builds character. And so I sent out a tweet saying, every indie wrestler should listen to this because it's so important to build character while you're building your character. And then actually the X-Pac retweeted it. So I was like, hey. X-Pac famous. He says some places he's worked don't even pay until the ring's taken down. I think it's 100% of the thing.
That should be the way it is.
Yeah.
Almost, you know?
I was even telling the guy, the promoter here, I was saying, I don't understand literally why you book someone on a show if they didn't tear down the ring on the last show. I wouldn't even book them. And maybe I'm an asshole. Maybe I would be a horrible promoter. Maybe that's why I'm not a promoter. Because to me, if you're not there to take it, to build it up and then tear it down, you have no business being on the inside of it. And I think if you weren't there tearing down the last one, you're not going to be on this one. But if you tear down and build up this one, I'll put you on the next one. Right? So, yeah, you've got to be...
There's your entrance fee.
Yeah, your entrance fee is being the build and the tear down. And then, yeah, if you were my champion, I'll even pay you. Right? Yeah. If you brought in people and sold tickets, we'll pay you. Yeah. But if you don't tear it down, sorry, that money's going towards the people who did. Yeah. So, I don't know. It was a big eye-opening thing watching him do that when these other guys just don't feel that they need to. They feel they're bigger than it. But yeah, the X-Pac episode 130. definitely check it out. Even the first, like I said, 20 minutes or so. Every indie wrestler should listen to it. But if you don't have any other questions, I'm going to go ahead and turn it down. It looks like you followed us. That's amazing. I appreciate that. Tell your friends, tell other indie wrestlers. We're just here talking about shit. Hit me up on Twitter, and we'll go over the G1 card too. That might be a little more Twitter friendly than Twitch. Maybe we'll go over G1. If you're the only one to tune in the next time, I'll talk about G1 the whole time. I don't care. But yeah, thank you so much for following. Thank you for checking it out tonight, and we'll see you next week for sure.
Yeah. Cheers.
Cheers.